Welcome to Magical Moments for that ease and betterment in your life. And I'm your host, Alena Chapman. And right now, I don't think most people are feeling a lot of ease and betterment, but I'll tell you something. It's a very interesting time. And I think, everyone needs to have some ease and betterment in their life, especially now. Okay, so enough of that. Hey, I got a magical nugget for you. You're going to love this one. Do you know who you are? Are you the mom, dad, son, daughter, teacher, doctor? Or are you the victim, the bully, the fighter, the survivor, the bossy, the weak, the introvert, the extrovert, the lover? Or are you something more? When we are all doing our so-called roles in life, we forget one very important thing. We are spirit inside a vessel, inside these bodies. Do me a favor. If you're not driving, please sit for a minute and close your eyes. Now, when you open your eyes, don't open them yet. When you open your eyes, I want you to observe who is looking. Open your eyes. Who's looking? Who is seeing? Interesting, isn't it? When you stop thinking we are the roles that we play, when you stop thinking that you are the person who's defined by all the things you've been through, that's when a critical, wonderful question comes to mind. Who am I? And my friends, that is where you will find the peace. That's when you will find the truth. And that's when you start your spiritual journey for real. Have fun with this one. And I expect comments like galore. All right. I have another Midwest person here who is going to be on our show, and she is pretty impressive. Her name is Dr. Vicki Matthews, and she is a naturopath, physician, and relationship coach. She also has a degree in psychology and an MBA in marketing and consumer behavior. You like to learn, from the University of Chicago. Vicki has been interviewed for print, radio, and podcast, and has been a guest on Oprah's show twice. Yay for you. That's good. She is also the author of the #1 new release, The 5 Elements of Relationships: How to Get Along with Anyone, Anytime, Anyplace. You're not going to want to miss this one, folks. All right, and with that, I want to bring on Dr. Vicki. Hello, my dear.
Hello, it's great to be here with you.
Oh, it is so wonderful to be with you, too. I love having someone right in the neighborhood.
Absolutely.
So I love all of this, and well, first of all, #1, you are a person who loves to learn. I mean,
I do. You know, when on applications, when they say education for me, my husband writes in too much.
Yeah, I'm like that too. But I mean, I think it's the fountain of youth myself, the constant learning.
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay, so here you are, this naturopath physician, and you've got your psychology. What made you suddenly decide to start studying relationships?
Well, in my naturopathic practice, I worked with a lot of people who have cancer or who had cancer. And when I work with anyone to heal, I look at the emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical levels. They all have to be healed and aligned for someone to have optimal health. So, obviously physical, I was working with my naturopathic work, but when I came to emotional with so many people, the cause of their emotional stress was their relationships.
Yes.
So I started looking at ways to help that and understand it better, rather than just say learn to get along with people. I mean, what could I offer them? What could I share that would help them create the ease and flow, if you will, in their relationships. And I came to the five-element model, which is from traditional Chinese medicine, and I was very familiar with it from my studies, and realized that our personalities are in this model. It's not just about water, wood, fire, earth, and metal as elements in nature. We're in there. We're part of nature.
Yes.
And so I started studying and putting personality to those elements, and the cool thing about the model is it talks about how each element gets along with the other. Think about nature. Water feeds wood, right? Well, trees need water to grow.
Right.
But water puts out fire.
Yes.
And if that happens in our relationships, a water person will deal differently with a wood person than they will with a fire person. And that started, like, light bulbs start going on for people. It's like, oh, okay, that's why they act the way they act. And so once you understand each other, and that's the core of my belief, if we can understand each other and ourselves, we can get along better.
I think, and it is. It's figuring out what you are first, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is. And that's one of the things it's a road of self-discovery. I mean,
yes.
I'm a wood personality. Wood relates to spring, so that's making things happen, pushing forward, looking to the future. And that makes me kind of look like a bossy pants sometimes. But I don't knock myself for that. I say, okay. I mean, any organization I've ever been in, it's like, oh, you want something done? Give it to Vicki. She'll get it done.
Yes.
And that's part of my wood personality. My husband is a metal personality. That's at the end of the cycle. That relates to autumn in nature. That's when we start closing down and we look back and say, what worked here? What do we want to take forward into the next cycle? My favorite example is if you're a gardener, you keep the zucchini, but you get rid of the zucchini vine. So it's an assessment time. And so he's very, there are rules, and rules exist for a reason. One of my favorite stories is how I began my book, where my husband and I met in college. We married, graduated, and moved all in the same weekend. And 2 weeks later, we were driving from Chicago out to L.A. for a friend's wedding. We hit the Mojave Desert, and oh my God, this man is driving the speed limit in the desert. And I looked at him, and I said, can we speed this up? And he looked at me like I had four heads. The speed limit. So
funny.
I was a little nervous there, a 2-week-old bride going, what have I done?
Yeah.
But I learned he honors process and protocol, and it's really important. We need people like that.
Yes, we do.
So, and the challenge in our relationship has been that in nature, what's the relationship with metal and wood? Metal chops wood.
Yeah.
So we've learned how to dance with, I've learned to appreciate that. I can go a little bit further out on a limb because he's there to have my back.
Now that's a good way to look at it. And it's true. When you start to understand, I think it all starts with you, but then when you can understand where they're coming from, you can accept it and then see it as a gift like you just did. And when you see it as a gift, it's not confrontational anymore. It
isn't. And think about parenting. I had a client who he had been a sports star in college, and he had a son, and, okay, my boy is going to be a sports star like me. And this kid didn't want to play football. He didn't want to play with balls. And the dad came in. It's like, he's a wimp. I'm raising a wimp. Help me out. It's like, no. You are raising a water child who is creative and intelligent, has got incredible imagination, and loves to read. And once the dad wrapped his mind around that, the kid wanted a camera. He got the kid a camera. And they did photography together, and the kid's a professional photographer now.
See, that's exactly, that's exactly what you have to do. You have to understand everyone around you. And our families are the first ones to try not to. They want to push us into something or be like them. Right. I see that all the time. Right. This is nice. And if we can just step back and say, wait a minute, this child has their own way. And if you have these guidelines, it helps you to understand. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what my book is based on, is not just describing the different personalities, what I call elemental personalities after 5 elements, but what do they like? What do they not like? What are they good at? What aren't they good at? I had a mom once who could not understand why her daughter didn't want to learn to cook. Now, this mom was a very earth personality.
Right.
Home and food, connections mattered. The daughter was a little fire fire people are that summer. Hey, let's go out. Let's do things. Let's have fun. Let's play. She wanted to be with her girlfriends. She didn't want to sit in the kitchen and learn how to cook.
Right, right, right. And then and when you understand that, then you can maneuver around it. That's very good.
Help build it. Help foster it. Help your child. I mean, this is what this dad did with his son. He helped his son embrace photography, embrace things like that. And that made a huge difference for them in their family, the whole dynamic, the little sister, everybody. It was awesome.
With this, which is so wonderful, you and I both know, and you especially as a psychologist, you know that we really do have to come to a place where we accept ourselves for who we are and liking the faults as much as the, or morphing them, seeing what they truly are. The faults are never what they seem to be. But then also starting to accept ourselves and getting up in the morning and actually being grateful for who we are. And then things turn out, you're much more lovable with other people. You're much more accepting of them. But how much does this help that person get to that point? Or do they mask themselves in it? Do you know what I mean? Some people go...
I know exactly what you mean.
Good.
And I think what has to happen is you accept yourself where you are. If you're not where you want to be, then understanding who you are helps create the path to where you want to be. You're never going to be... If you are a water person, the person that's more inner-directed, likes smaller groups, likes to discuss philosophy, they are into reading and things like that, and for some reason you feel like, or your parents want you to be a movie star, you're going to have to, and here's the key, you're going to have to draw on the fire. We all have all 5 of them. They're all in there. Lead with one. It's kind of like being in a house, looking out a window, and there's tints on the window. Whatever's closest to you at the window, that's what you look at. That's your primary elemental personality, you can say. But you got all 5. So I would never be confused for a fire personality. But when I teach to people, when I go in front of large groups, I can get pretty fiery.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, isn't that interesting? And yes, we do have all 5 inside of us. And I was just thinking to myself, and you morph. You do morph. As you gain an experience or as you get older, and allow it to happen. You don't put yourself in one and just stay there, because that's not growth, that's stagnant. But if you are morphing, that's a good thing.
And learning I think of it as like a clubhouse. You're born into this clubhouse based on how things stack up in your energy. So first of all, you get used to, what does that mean? How do I maneuver? What works to work through the world? But then it's like, I think I'll go visit the fire clubhouse for a little bit. What's that like? Or, sadly, the metal clubhouse, the metal element is where endings are. So when we lose someone close to us in our life, or a pet or something, we will be in the metal clubhouse for a while. We will be processing that
grief.
Processing the letting go.
Yeah.
And then we can move into water and do a fresh start.
Yes.
So it's really, the Chinese were onto something. Let's just say that.
They were in many ways. I mean, I love Chinese medicine myself. I found it to be very healing. I love this because even in my nugget, I was talking about observing, not getting stuck in the roles that we play, not getting stuck in the habits that we do, not, our own personalities, our reactions. So and I always say, observe that. Is that what you want or not? I like this too, because if you know who you are, if you're a water, but you find yourself complaining all the time, and you find yourself very angry all the time, how can you get yourself and say that normally you're like a water? Because right now we're going through a lot of stuff as a nation. So, so people are not in their element. Ha, ha, ha. That was a little pun. So if they're not in their element, but yet they really aren't in that other element, but they're striking out. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like an anger has been stirred, but they're really not the fire. What can they do to get themselves back into their element where they feel like they want to feel and they want to have that ease and flow?
They first of all do exactly what you're suggesting. They acknowledge that they're stressed. And really, almost anybody in our country that pays attention to what's going on is going to be stressed. when we get stressed, our elemental personality manifests in a warped way, or what I call an out-of-balance way. So using myself as an example, I'm a wood personality. Anger and frustration are where wood people go when they're out of balance.
Yeah.
Panic and hysteria are where fire people go when they're out of balance.
Yes.
So it's each, and that's one of the things that I cover a lot actually in my book is, yeah, here are the different personalities. Find your mother, find your sister, find your husband, whatever. But find yourself, and when you aren't balanced, what can you do? And each chapter that talks about one of these different elemental personalities has dozens and dozens and dozens of suggestions on ways to get back in balance so that you can come from your place of strength, not from a place of unbalance.
And it's super when you really come from your area of strength. With everything that's been going on, I found myself, because I tend to be, I don't know, I think a little bit of the fire, not really, more the water wood. And get me together with a small group and talk philosophy or talk spirituality, and I'm the happiest. I like small groups, retreats. I like to talk and really get ideas flowing, right? So there I am. So do I want to go down in protest with a bunch of people screaming? That does not sound good at all. Do you see what I'm saying? Know what you're good at. But what I am good at is looking at the philosophical part of this, looking at the spirituality of this, and bringing that forth so that other people can deal with it in a way that is healthier and actually find their element so that they can bring out the gifts that they can offer to maybe change the world, right? Or better the world, or bring ease and flow to people, or whatever.
Right, to make a difference. I think we all come to make a difference, and we spend part of our life finding where that's going to be, and then part of it making that difference.
And when we find our element and understand where we're comfortable at and accept it, then we can move mountains.
Exactly.
I love it. And how do people, when you have someone, because there are a lot of hurting people out there. So say you have someone who comes in who's a survivor mentality, a person who has been through a lot. Well, Alena, you got to do what you got to do, right? That kind of personality?
Right.
Yeah.
First of all, you help them unpack the baggage. You help them, and you do that from the place of strength for their elemental personality. For example, water people don't necessarily like anything that's constrictive. Water likes to flow.
Right.
So giving them a tight schedule or budgets or a lot of structure,
they don't like you.
Going to work.
No.
But a metal person, because metal people look backwards, I learned this the hard way in my practice. I was working with a guy who was a metal personality, and I said, so 10 years from now, where do you want to be? What do you want us to create? That's a wood question. Woods look to the future. This guy did not. He couldn't. And I remember being slightly frustrated because who can't look forward and see where they want to be in 10 years? Well,
you're a wood, right?
Metal personality. I'm a wood. I can do it well. So what I had to do with him was say, 10 years from now, Pete, what do you want to look back on and have accomplished?
Nice.
And that he could answer.
Oh, isn't that interesting? That is very interesting. I like that.
It's working with who they are. It's like not trying to make your water son be a football star or your fire daughter be, the best cook in the world. It's just, and it's at work. Oh my gosh, it makes such a difference at work. If your boss is a metal personality, which is detail orientation and everything is perfect, and they're the people that tweak the planter on a desk type of thing, sloppiness probably isn't going to go over really well.
No. No, it's not. It is. It's learning. And it doesn't guarantee that you're always going to get along with that person, or are you?
Here's what it can guarantee. You will always understand the person, and then it's your choice whether you want to get along with them or not.
Ah, that's exactly right. And that's okay. And because, you know why that's so okay? Because you never leave with disagreeing and awfulness between you. Because, because you understand that it's both of you. It's not one of you. It's both of you that just don't mesh at this time, in this place, in this situation. You might mesh somewhere else, but not right here. And it's a more accepting kind of separation. Am I right?
Yes. Yes, you are. You're 100% correct. And that is so much pressure on us now. Is we're forced into working with people we don't understand. We may even, I mean, I've worked with people in my practice that they can say, my boss is brilliant, but God, he's a jerk. Well,
Yes.
he's a jerk to you because you don't understand his personality and how it relates to yours. But obviously the people that hired him, that he's doing a really good job for, don't think he's a very big jerk. So it just comes back down to that understanding. Where are you in this model? Where's the person you're trying to get along with in the model? There are strengths between you, and there will be weaknesses. Build on the strengths.
Yeah. You build on the strengths. And for heaven's sakes, don't forget about yourself. I think it helps.
In fact, that's what we all have to understand ourselves first.
We have to. You know, you have to have a ground, a foundation. So how can people find out more about you?
Well, I have a website, drvickymatthews.com. My book is The 5 Elements of Relationships, How to Get Along with Anyone, Anytime, Anyplace. It's available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
I love it. I love it. And Vicki, it's Dr. Vicki. It's Vicki, guys, and Matthews. And because sometimes that can be very funny on the Google. But I'm so glad that this is so wonderful that you got this book out and you're helping people discover this. It does. It does. It's taking a look at that person, too. And I like this because it has that added little thing where you're looking and accepting the person for who they are. And you are just, and you get to know that person. You're stepping outside yourself, which is cool.
Well, and that's one of the things I really tried to do in this book is give list upon list upon list of what these people will be good at, what will be challenges, will be a place they can learn from, what are, just as much possible understanding, and then turn it towards yourself. What are you good at? If you aren't good at being patient, which would be me, then I know I have to take extra care in a situation where I need to be patient because my tendency will be to get angry or frustrated.
Yeah, that's me. Or eat something.
Yes, that's our leaders in all of us.
Oh, gosh, I know. It has been so wonderful to have you on. Thank you so much, Vicki. And I'm sure people will be looking at things. And for all of you out there, hey, AlenaChapman.com. We have so many programs right now. And if you are someone who is looking at yourself and saying, I just can't seem to get a grasp on myself, or I really don't know who I am and I'm curious, or you just want to meet with me, I'll tell you what, I have several things right now. Every other week, I'm having a wonderful, what we call a wine and journey or meditation. It's a wonderful evening, and we just get to journey and talk. And I'll tell you what, the people I have in that group are enjoying it so much, plus getting insight. And we do talk some cool concepts. We have things like that. We have soul talk. Just take a look. See what works for you. And 7-day reset right now for people. I have to tell you, that's where it's at, to hack in and figure out how do I keep my center and my core in all this chaos. And that is 7-day reset, and it's free. So download that and let's keep our core. Guys, the more we keep our core, the more we can let love in, and that is where spirit can enter us. Remember, spirit is love, and love is spirit. It is nothing else. Love. Namaste, my beautiful friends.